So Mountain of the Cannibal God is a film by Sergio Martino, who is a famous Italian horror exploitation director who's worked with Lucio Fulci and many other Italian names, Mario Bava, and others that I can't really name off the top of my head right now, but specifically horror. And he has his own unique vision. Uh, Lucio Fulci is like the zombie guy, and Sergio Martino is basically the cannibal guy. And he really takes influence from Cannibal Holocaust and stuff like that. So, Mountain of the Cannibal God, also known as Slave of the Cannibal God, was released in 1978, and it stars the beautiful Ursula Anders, which was a very famous Italian superstar, very beautiful and sexy superstar of the 70s. And yeah, so this is one of his more famous films. Basically, I think it was shot in New Guinea, at least it takes place in New Guinea, so I'm assuming it was shot there, but maybe not. Starting off, the very first thing, there's a lot of animals and animal deaths in this film. If you're squeamish to animal deaths, excuse me, it's not the film for you. When it comes to animal deaths, I mean, most of the animal deaths are animal on animal, so it's like animals eating each other. Stuff really doesn't bother me. People killing animals, I really, really hope it's staged. There's a lot of rumors going around where it's not, where it's actual animal deaths. They did that in Cannibal Holocaust, and that's one reason that I really don't want to watch that one. But I'm just hoping everything in here is staged. But outside of the humans killing animals, most of the animal deaths are animals eating each other, basically. But there's a lot of it. Sergio Martino loves showing the savageness of the jungle, pretty much. The jungle looks beautiful, by the way. But, I mean, there's so many scenes where you see, there's a scene where a snake is eating a monkey, which is not fun. Like I said, there's a lot of controversy saying that Sergio Martino tied the monkey up so the snake could get to it, but I'm hoping that wasn't the case, but I don't know. There's there's a scene where a snake is fighting an eagle, which is pretty fun to see. No animal gets eaten in that scene. But the story starts off with basically a man went on an expedition to New Guinea. And there's a big quote at the beginning of the movie saying New Guinea is one of the only parts of the world that hasn't been explored. And this guy went on an expedition there and got lost, and his wife wants to go searching for him because the search for him was basically put off and given up on because everybody just assumed him for dead. So this woman named Susan, the guy who went to New Guinea's name is Henry, and his wife is named Susan, and she wants to get together with her brother Arthur and a guy named Edward, who's familiar with the jungle as well, to go on an expedition to find the husband. So that's where the movie begins. And it's a lot of just trekking through the jungle, which looks beautiful, like I said. They use some tribesmen to kind of lead them through the jungle, and these tribesmen have their own rituals, and that's where a lot of animal sacrifice happens. And there's a scene with an iguana that, again, I really hope it's staged, but the iguana gets basically torn open and eaten. So if you're squeamish, stay away from cannibal films, especially if they are produced in Italy, because they don't hold back from those. I'm a little bit desensitized to these things because I've seen so many of them, but there's still some things that I would rather not watch. Just a fair warning there. During this iguana ritual, Arthur interferes by starting to kick the shit out of the tribesmen, which I don't blame him, and basically starts a fight with Edward because of this, because he's starting trouble in a foreign land and can get himself and everybody else, including Susan, killed. So Still don't blame them though. The tribesmen look really cool in this movie. The tribesmen are so cool looking. They have these masks that look like they're made of clay. They're pretty rubber looking, but they look like they're made of clay, and they have like bone in them. They really look like they're like a form of mud and clay, and just they look very hard looking, and they look very like dirty and rustic and rough, and like it literally looks like tribesmen, like actual scary looking, creepy ass looking tribesmen, and I love it. I love the looks of the tribesmen with their spears and their agility, like the stuntmen that they must have used for these people, unless they were actual tribesmen. I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, if they use stuntmen, they're so good. The way they jump and the way they pounce, and it was just amazing. I thought the tribesmen looked amazing. There's a scene where a kid is climbing a palm tree with his hands and feet, and he's just right to the top. I'm guessing that actually was a real tribes kid. They usually use real tribes people in these films who aren't actors, who are real people. The tribe is called the Puka. the the tribe that Henry was looking for at the beginning of the movie, who he was trying to explore for scientific reasons. And it's kind of a lost tribe too. They think they're called the Puka. So I laughed every time they say the Puka, because they're like, "What happened to the Puka?" And it's like, "That's nonsense. The Puka's been extinct for years." Yeah, well, okay, the Puka. I kept calling them the Puta. I just kept calling the tribe the Puta, which means whore in Spanish and Portuguese, if you guys were wondering. So I just called them the Puta the whole time. Um, so we find out that Edward has been forced in the past by the Puka he was forced into cannibalism, and it kind of messed with his head. So his motive to go back to this jungle the whole time is basically to eliminate the tribe, because he wants to put peace in his head, and he wants to stop the nightmares by exterminating the tribe, basically. So that's his motive for going back. So then we get to this village where we meet, or Susan meets a new character named Manolo, and this village is it's with a tribe, not the Puka, because the Puka is the evil lost tribe. But this village, they kind of take sanctuary there for a while before they start heading back to the mountain, or up the mountain of the cannibal god, and there's this ritual where they start chewing up herbs and spitting it into a bowl, because the herbs, when in contact with saliva, creates some kind of potent liquor, they say. Kind of looks like ayahuasca. That's what I thought it was, ayahuasca, until they mentioned liquor, but maybe it's the same thing, I don't know. But for anybody who doesn't know what ayahuasca is, it's a drug that they do in Peru and ancient tribes like that. It's a hallucinogen. But then we find out that Henry actually didn't go study this tribe for scientific reasons, that he was just greedy and he wanted to get rich. So it had nothing to do with science, it had to do with his greed. And he kind of snuck away without anybody knowing on purpose, because he didn't want to let anybody know what his real intentions were. So they continue their trek up the mountain, and they start roasting live crabs, because we don't have enough animal cruelty in this film. So you have crabs moving while they're roasting over a fire. Again, I don't know if it's practical or if it's real. I'm hoping it's practical. I'm staying optimistic. I really want it to be practical, but I don't know. It's 1978 Italy. The laws are way different. Like, especially with the worst scene in this film is when the snake eats the monkey. It's right on screen, and it goes for a good minute and a half, and it looks real. And I'm hoping it's practical. If it's not practical, I can let it slide, because I mean, it's just animal nature. But if Sergio Martino tied the monkey to a tree so the snake can get it and the monkey couldn't escape, I can't do that. I mean, that would really bother me, and that would make me question whether I want to keep this film. I'm going to keep it regardless because, like I said, I have not looked into it. I have not done my research, so I probably need to do that. But basically, that's how I look at things. I can give certain things a slide. Anything that's fake, I really don't give a shit. You can show me the most grotesque thing you can possibly think of. If it's staged, I don't care. But anything that any living thing is getting hurt. I mean, there's even a tarantula death in this film, and that bothered me. If the tarantula was real, like that shit just doesn't. If it's real, I don't like it. But yeah, going on. They reach the top of the mountain. Arthur dies with a spear, and Manolo and Susan are captured by the puka. And I'm never gonna get over that word. And okay, so. Okay, here we go. Prepare. All right. This is where it starts to get fucked. The whole third act. The whole third act is a doozy. Like, wow. Wow. The whole movie is a Sergio Martino film. But then Sergio Martino turns it to 11. Like, it's just Sergio Martino goes for broke on this third act, okay? So, we get the body of Arthur, who was just killed with a spear, ripped open, body parts coming out of the insides. All the cannibals start eating the body and the parts, like a ritual, okay? Susan is tied up as the god woman because they recognize her from a picture, because she had the cannibals had a picture of Henry when they killed Henry, because Henry is crucified also with his face completely melted, I'm guessing by acid, and they worshipped Henry, and Henry had a picture on him. So these cannibals had a picture of Henry with his wife, so they recognize the wife, so they think she's this goddess because she's in the picture, and to this tribe it's like something supernatural kind of thing. So they tie her and they dress her up in feathers and they dress her up like a queen, and they treat her like the god woman, and then they start doing this really messed up ritual with everybody. It's basically an orgy. Okay, you see full frontal vag getting fingered. So you see a woman like putting her fingers inside herself, full frontal. So you're watching porn. Also, this is the unrated version. This is the 103-minute version. There is a 90-minute version, like an American cut that goes around, which cuts all this stuff out. But this is like the original European cut, which is what I own. So yeah, full frontal porn, lots of orgies. A guy fucks a giant pig. Yeah, a guy fucks a giant pig, a boar. Like, the thing is bigger than he is, okay? So he's not like humping the thing. He's literally like running into the thing. He's he's basically like, I'm just like, okay, when I thought I saw it all, I see more. I see more. This is the second time I watched it. I usually watch films twice before I review them. So I watched them the first time, and then the second time I start to take more notes. The first time was the most shocking, obviously. I'm like, what is going on this screen? That's going on the screen. The man fucks a pig. So Susan is molested by a tribesman, and then the tribesman is basically grabbing her, and the rest of the tribe grabs this guy, takes him to the side, and again cuts his dick off full frontal, like just right off. And I mean, there's this film by Lars von Trier called Antichrist, where there's a scene of genital mutilation in it, and it's the same thing. It's full frontal, and when I watched that film for the first time, I'm like, and that's exactly what I did the first time I saw that scene. I was like, okay, that happened. You need a little, like, 5 seconds when you see shit like that in films. Like I said, I'm desensitized, but it still gets me. It still gets me. There's only one film that I've ever seen that I couldn't finish. Only one. Only one. That passed my ability to handle. That film is called a Serbian film, but I'm not talking about a Serbian film right now. We're talking about Mountain of the Cannibal God, also known as Slave of the Cannibal God. I don't know if I said that at the beginning, but the film also goes around with the title Slave of the Cannibal God. A lot of Italian films had like 2 or sometimes 3 or sometimes even 4 different names, translation stuff. So yeah, then the festival or ritual, you could say, keeps on going, and more snakes are eaten. Again, they look alive, so they're just being eaten and munched on. And there's actually there's like a midget or little person, tribesman that is part of the group, and he's not really treated badly. Like, he's not exploited at all. He's treated like the other tribesmen. He's just smaller than everybody, and he actually really looks like Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones, like facial features. He obviously, it's not him because this is 1978, but he really he kind of looks like Peter Dinklage. It's kind of like if they were related or something. It's kind of funny and interesting that they would add him in. So yeah, everybody. What's his face? Manolo basically finds a way out and starts to fight back and rescues Ursula, and then they find a way out, and then they escape the Mountain of the Cannibal God. And they escape by boat down the river, and the movie ends there. So you just assume that they found their way back home, and that is one Italian exploitation film by Sergio Martino. Sergio Martino. It's disgusting and disturbing, especially with animal deaths, like I described. I really like I said, a lot of these films I really hope are practical, but I mean, like I said, it's the laws that are for the time and for the country. They can get away with a lot of shit, and I don't know. It wouldn't fly with me if I was a filmmaker, but everybody's different. I mean, some people like the shock factor on that. I don't like animal deaths, real ones. If it's fake, like I said, I don't care. But if it's real, no, not even turtles, not even anything, nothing, not flies. Fuck, I don't care. I don't kill flies, for God's sakes. But yeah, that's my review for that. So yeah, that's really all I got to say about it. If you like cannibal films or foreign horror films or the era, I mean, the films are really the same in the era. And if you know the directors, especially Lucio Fulci, the master, and him and Sergio Martino work together a lot, you know what you're getting into, basically. But yeah, that's the review. So good night, until next time. Cheers.